Hey guys, this week we're going to show you how to heat and cool your camp when you're just too soft to deal with the temperatures as they are.
So this is our humongous fan that we use through the summer months. It's a companion rechargeable fan which does take batteries, so you don't need to run power to it. But how we do it is we made up a cord with the power inlet and ran it to a Anderson plug. So we run that outside of our rooftop tent just down to our rear bar into the power. So we don't have to have, you know, the window open with the cord running in or a door open or anything like that. So we can have power. We've had this running all night before and it works really well. It is quite big, especially inside of a rooftop tent, but it's worth it for the cooling. Okay, so how we attach this inside the tent is just from this top handle. We just use one of these little thin straps that just tightens down on itself. We do one of these through that handle to the top support inside the rooftop tent, and then we just have a second one as a bit of a loop through the next bar, sort of on an angle back, and it just loops over these 2 feet down the bottom, and that sort of holds it on about a 45-degree angle blowing down onto us. So the fan, it's pretty basic. It's just got a LED light up the top here, which is good inside the tent as well. And knowing that you're going to have it run as long as you need to with the power. Also, this outside grill, it actually spins when the fan's on, which oscillates the air around, but you can just twist this center knob and that locks it in, so you can just angle the air onto one person or, you know, one spot of the tent, and it's just pretty basic. It's just low, high and off. You just use that to get that to spin if you want it. The biggest downside to this is obviously the size. It's really bulky. It is a bit of a pain to have to store it in the car somewhere as well, but the way we look at it is we've had some really crappy nights through summer where it's just still and just stinking hot. So yeah, I feel like it's worth having the bit bulkier fan to make your sleeping heaps more comfortable through summer. Tried a few smaller ones, and there are some alright ones out there, but this just moves the air a lot more around. Like, it's basically just like having a big ceiling fan in your bedroom. So apart from being really bulky, it is a really good fan. It's not too heavy either for the size of it. It's just all plastic body, and down the bottom where the battery compartment is, we don't carry batteries in it, so that saves weight as well, just because we're running the 12-volt power. It does come with a 240 volt plug when you actually buy it, so you can run it off inverter or just at home, but we run it off our 12 volt in our car. So we've had this one for close to a year and we've been really happy. Haven't had any problems with it. We don't take it all the time. It's mainly just if we know it's going to be really hot, sort of through the peak of summer, and if we're going somewhere that's sort of a hotter area, like not, you know, close to water with a breeze and stuff like that. If we're going beach camping, we probably wouldn't take this, just because we know we should be able to get like a nice breeze. But this is really good for when it is just too hot to stay inside the tent. Really, it just helps move some of that hot air out. So shout out to Brett Snow, who actually recommended these to us. Yeah, we're really happy with it, so thanks for that one, Brett.
So this is our heater. We've had this for a few months now. We got it when we were going down to Jindabyne to do our road trip, and that was in winter because we were going to the snow, so it was quite cold. So this is the Mr. Heater by Primus, and it's called the Portable Buddy. It's just ran off these little gas cylinders, and it's the 468 gram size. So that just screws into the side of it, and that's how it's run. So it's quite easy to start, and it runs really, really well and gives a lot of heat off. We decided to get it just because we knew that we would be camping in the cold weather. We did a road trip and we camped most of the time in our rooftop tent. Then also what we actually found was really helpful when we were actually on our road trip was when we packed up our tent, we had a lot of condensation because it was quite cold. So then when we went to set it up, when we were at our next spot, it was still wet, and obviously when it's cold, having damp things isn't really a good combination. So what we actually found worked really well is we'd put that up in the rooftop tent and move the bedding just to make sure that it was okay, that it wasn't going to ignite or anything, and left all the windows open while we were just out cooking dinner and having drinks and stuff by the fire. So it actually completely dried all the canvas and stuff like that. It was really, really effective. And it also warmed the area before we went up to bed. We don't leave it on when we're sleeping or anything like that. It's also got a few settings just for safety. So if it actually tips over, it'll turn off. And if there's not enough oxygen, it'll also shut off as well. So it's a good little safe gas heater, but we still probably would recommend having it inside a small tent where all the windows are closed. You've got to make sure obviously that you've got air, making sure that you're safe when you're using gas, things like that. So if our tent isn't wet and we're not trying to dry it out, and it was really cold, we'll just pop it up there for 5-10 minutes and get the bedding and the temperature in the tent really, really nice and warm, and then we'll shut it off before we actually go up into bed. It's really decent size. You could hang it also if you wanted. It's not too bulky or heavy. It's fairly easy to store, and you can take the propane out while you're traveling and just have a few backup. But this is the first propane tank we've used, and we still haven't ran through it at all. So it seems to go quite well on the propane that it actually uses. So just like the fan, the downside to this heater is probably that it's like you're still a little bit bulky when you're trying to conserve space and pack a lot of things that you need for camping. Putting something this size in is going to be, a bit more difficult. But we usually have our fan or our heater, so the space that we take up is probably the same no matter if we take one or the other. Another con to it is that it does run on gas, so you do have to obviously be mindful when you're putting it into certain areas that you've got enough oxygen and things like that you don't want to be unsafe with it. Pros is it's a great little unit, easy to run, really easy to use and move around depending on where you want it, and the heat that comes off of it is great. It throws a lot of heat around, and for such a small unit, really, the heat that comes off it is really impressive. So I was really impressed with this one. So that was just a quick look at how we heat and cool our camps, and just the things that we use to enable us to do so. We find these both quite handy and really simple ways to get the temperature a little bit more comfortable. So thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next Friday. Really?
Yeah.
Won't that be weird?
Is that good enough? It's big.
It's huge, eh?
So the power's not in.
I don't even know what the fuck this is.
So the tent.
I don't know what else to say about it. All propane bottles.
It says right there, 468.
Just cut in.
I